What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel and welcome to my review for How to Train Your Dragon, the live action remake. That's right, Universal is dipping their toes in the live action remake realm, following the footsteps of Disney. The first one up to bat is How to Train Your Dragon, which honestly I think the animated trilogy is one of the best trilogies of all time. I really enjoy those trilogies. They have such warm visuals, such great storytelling, such compelling characters, and characters you want to root for, and that last one just absolutely tore me apart in the last 15 minutes. So when they announced that they were going to be remaking How to Train Your Dragon, I got really excited because I think I'm in the minority when it comes down to live action remakes. Some of them are great, some of them are okay, and some of them are not the best, but I go into every single one of them judging them on its own merits, and I was really surprised by this movie. Now, starting off with the things that I really liked about this movie, the cinematography for this movie is absolutely beautiful. The island of Berk is just wonderful to look at on screen in a live action form. While the animated movie is a little bit more of the colorful aspects of Berk, this is more of the doom and gloom and sometimes sunny side of Berk. And I just love how the cinematography was able to make this island come alive and just make you want to be in this world. That is something that I really enjoyed about this movie. Just seeing how beautiful the movie looked, the aspects, and even when it came down to the CGI of the dragon, especially when it came down to Toothless, because you just had to nail the look of Toothless, right? And the way that they were able to just basically copy and paste and make it come to life. The way that the dragons look in this movie do feel like they were just copy and pasted over to the live action version and just made them feel so similar. For the fans of this franchise, they weren't too distinctly different from the animated version, which is something that I really respected from this movie. They have all the dragons that you love and know, and I think that was one of my biggest worries going into this movie was, were they able to capture the magic of the animated version into live action form? And I think for me personally, they were able to do that. Well, I think the first half of this movie does semi fall flat, and I will be getting into my reasons as to why. I just love the way that this movie hit all the nostalgic beats of the animated version that just absolutely hit me in the feels. Dean DeBlois is the director of this movie after he co-directed the trilogy, or just the first one. Chris Sanders was also one of the directors of the animated versions, and I think he handled this movie great. While you can definitely see some of the issues in the first half of this movie, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it is a beat by beat remake of the original film. In the first half of this film, what I think was holding this movie back a little bit more for me from not really enjoying the first half of this movie is that you have Mason Thames who plays Hiccup, and I think he wasn't really the strongest in the first half. He does get better as he moves along, and when we get to the bonding moments between Hiccup and Toothless, I think that is where he shines a little bit better. Whenever the movie is resting on him to lead this movie, I really wasn't all that impressed with him in the first half of this movie, but as the film progresses, and even with the relationship between him and Astrid, played by Nico Parker in this movie, I think they had wonderful chemistry on screen. And there has been a lot of controversy regarding the casting of Nico Parker because she's not blonde, and I think they just gave her a little bit of blonde in her hair just to shut everybody up that was complaining about her being cast in this movie. But I think she was the highlight of this movie. Whenever she is on screen, I thought she was a powerhouse. And once we get the bonding between Hiccup and Astrid, I think that is when this movie got a little bit better for me. The first half of this movie was really dragging a little bit more. They do enough in here to change it from the animated version while also being a shot for shot remake of the animated version. The thing that really took me back a little bit was the fact that they gave Snotlout, they gave him some more character development in here. In the animated version, you have all the other trainees with Hiccup and Astrid. I really enjoyed them whenever they were on screen, but I didn't feel like they gave them enough to do in the franchise. But the one thing that I was really surprised with this movie is the fact that they gave Snotlout a little bit more of a character and a little bit more of a personality, because even though he is the same character that you have in the animated version where he is trying to go after Astrid and has a crush on her, the thing that they did a little bit more different with this character, they also gave him the hiccup characteristics to him, where he is trying to impress his father to become a really tough Viking, but his father doesn't really acknowledge him. And that just surprised me, is that they were able to give some of the other characters a little bit more to do in this movie than they did in the animated version. The only one that I had a big issue with out of the whole trainees is Fish Legs, played by Gillian Dennison. I don't think they gave him a lot to do, and honestly, it could have been played by anybody else because his character just felt one note. He just felt like somebody that could have just faded in the background, and I kind of wish it did a little bit more with him. And you also have Gobbler, played by Nick Frost. I thought he was great in this movie. And you also have Gerard Butler coming back as Stoic the Vast, and I think he was great. And he did not miss a beat when it came down to playing this character in a live action role. He took the best things about the animated version and just made it his own in live action. And I think the chemistry between him and Mason Thames, I really enjoyed seeing their back and forth. But really what saves this movie is everything that I love about the animated version. It has a lot of heart. Once we get to Hiccup and Toothless meeting, I think that is when the movie begins to soar and has a lot of heart and takes the best parts of the animated version and just transfers them over to the live action version. And I think that is where the movie just hit me in my feels. I think the last half of this movie is stronger than the first half of this movie. A lot of the action sequences in this movie in the last half of this film is great, and I was really charmed by this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. If you're a fan of the animated version, you're going to enjoy this movie. I think they do enough good things in here to make it a little bit different while also being a shot-for-shot remake. But overall, this is a movie that I really came out surprised by. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. It has a lot of heart. The characters in here are great. It takes a little while for me to get into the movie because I don't think the acting in the first half of this film is the best, but it gets better as the movie goes on. But those are my thoughts on the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. Have you guys checked it out? Are you planning on checking this film out? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know. Do you enjoy the animated versions?